Hey there! Today we'll have a look at a pen from a brand of which I have not reviewed that many pens. There have been a couple, but not that many. Stipula. I was at Akkerman in The Hague and I saw this pen and I really liked the finish, but then I saw what nib it had and then I was really blown away, I suppose. Comes in this box, interesting, sleeve, and then a box. Wood, almost looks like a book, which I think is very fascinating. There's nothing on the back, but on the spine you would say. But it's interesting. It really reminds me of a book. It even looks a bit like it has pages. But as I said, wood. Okay, in there is the pen. The pen is gorgeous. At least I think so. And it is on velvet. It really feels like velvet, so it's a pretty nice thing. You can pull this out, but there's nothing under it. So, anyway. This is the pen. This is Stipula Etruria. And this is not just an Etruria, this is the Etruria Volterra. And I think it is a really nice material. Okay, you can see the marbling there. I just caught it really well in the light. That looks very cool. Beautiful pen. I'm going to cover the parts of the pen. I'll tell you what I like about it, what I don't like about it, and then do a writing sample. Top of the cap, finial, absolutely nothing. Just that nice material they used. And then you have the clip. And the clip has the, I think it's the laurel leaves that Stipula uses as a logo. And as I understand, these are all, I thought they were gold trims. You can see those same leaves. They are stylized laurel leaves on the cap band, and the clip is very nice and springy. It's not a spring-loaded clip, but it's very usable. And then we have the barrel. Barrel tapers down, and well, it's really pretty material. The cap unscrews, and then you get a stub nib, and it says Stipula 18 karat 750 two-tone nib. And this, I said stub nib, but actually this is more of an italic. It's sharp, it's crisp, it's a joy to use. I think it's pretty, and it's a number 6 nib, so it's fairly big, really nice. An hourglass shaped section and threads, all in the same material as the pen body, which I think is really cool. It's not a metal section or something, it's all one material, same material. Pleasant pen. It's not really small. It's fairly beefy, but maybe not an oversize. It's something a little smaller than that. You can post this cap, but personally I don't think it's necessary. I think it's very fine as it is. It's cartridge converter filled pen. This converter has, it's actually a diplomat converter. It didn't come with a converter, but I got one in the store just to, I got it along with the pen to accompany it, and fits very well. Diplomat fits well, and I think that well, maybe I shouldn't say all, I think most Stipula pens can also be used as eyedropper filled pens, and this barrel, it's just a solid piece. There's no metal rings on it or anything, so if you would put ink in there and then put silicone grease on the threads of the section, I think you're fine. However, I haven't tried it, and people really seem to like eyedropper pens. I don't, really. It's nice to have so much ink, but if you accidentally unscrew the section, that's a lot of ink to spill, and I also don't really like the pens to discolor on the inside with the ink. So I don't do that, but if you want to, I think it's possible. Okay, on the barrel there, I don't know how well you can see that, but there is an inscription. Yeah, you can see a little bit right there. And the inscription just says Stipula Etruria Volterra, number 97 out of 193, made in Italy. And that's all there's to it. So that's what you have in the pen. And what do I like about it, what do I not like about it? Well, to be honest, I don't recall exactly what I paid for it. It's weeks ago, months ago. I do recall it was not extremely cheap. But you do get an 18 karat gold nib and a stub, or again an italic, which is really pleasant to use. Now that I'll show you in the writing sample. Overall, I think what this pen is going for is the shape. Really nice shape, really pleasant to use, pleasant to hold, feels really nice to the touch, and I'm willing to pay a bit more for that. Yes, it's cartridge converter filled, so no fancy piston or vacuumatic or heaven knows what kind of filling system. Simple cartridge converter, easy to use, and that's all there's to it. Things I don't like about it so much, well, there isn't that much. I think it's a very nicely made model. Clip works, nib is very pleasant to use, simple filling system. There isn't really anything I dislike about it. I think it's a really cool model, and I'm very glad I got this. And that's all there is to it. So, let's see how it writes. Thanks once again to Paul at Ackerman, who has, well, has not really done much for my bank director, but in any case, it's always a pleasure to be there and interact. So there you have it. Let's look at the writing. Measurements of the pen will be on the website, sbrebrown.com. Just find the post that goes along with the pen, and there will also be high-resolution pictures of the pen and writing sample on the website. That's all there's to it for now. I hope this was useful. Glad to see you later. Bye-bye. Okay, so here we go with the Stipula Etruria. Just to save time, I'm not going to write down Volterra. This is a, well, I'm going to write down italic, and the ink is Sailor Shiguri, which has been in here for quite a while, so it may have become a little darker than it usually is, just so you know. The pen pretty much started up straight away, so nice closure mechanism on the cap. Very good flow, very pleasant, smooth writing experience, even though it is an italic nib, so the tipping is quite angular. I still think it's a very nice, smooth writing experience. Now, if we go for some fast writing, it's a little bit difficult with this type of nib, because if you misalign it, it will skip, and that has nothing to do with the nib itself, but just with the way that just happened right there, with the way you align it to the paper. It is a bit, this type of nib is finicky as to how you position it, and it will just, it's not as forgiving as a round nib. But even having said that, I think you can see that it's a very well-tuned nib that does this so well. Wetness of the nib, it's a fairly wet writer, which I like, not excessively wet, but definitely well-tuned and wet. Line variation, well, of course, it is an italic nib, so you can see that these strokes are quite broad, whereas those strokes are quite fine. And that is no pressure, that's just because of the shape of the nib. If you were to add some pressure, you can see that you can definitely squeeze out some nice line variation. But even because of the shape of the nib, you don't even really need to do that just to get that nice variation. Finally, if you really want to reverse writing, it's not really successful with this nib. As you can see, it runs dry, and it's also because of the shape of the nib. There's not a round ball of tipping, so this is the way it is. I find this a very pleasant writer. I'm very glad to have added it to my lineup of pens. I hope this was useful, and I'm glad to see you later.